welcome back. Let's get you up to speed on the business news that really mattered this week. It really is a full-time job, isn't it? So let's cut through the noise. We're going to break down what actually mattered for UK small businesses this week, starting with the big economic picture. We've got a lot to unpack, from how your cash is protected to the latest on inflation.
First up, we've got some really important news from the Prudential Regulation Authority, or PRA, about the cash that's sitting in your business bank account.
That's right, the Financial Services Compensation Scheme is giving its deposit protection limit a serious boost. Starting December 1st, the amount protected is jumping from £85,000 all the way up to a much healthier $120,000. This is the first change we've seen since 2017, and it's happening for a reason. It's a direct response to inflation and feedback from businesses like yours.
And it's not just the standard limit. This also covers what they call temporary high balances. So let's say your business has a huge one-off transaction, maybe from selling a property or a big insurance payout. Well, that protection is climbing from 1 million up to 1.4 million pounds.
So, what's the takeaway here for you? Well, honestly, this is the perfect trigger to take a fresh look at your cash strategy. Of course, the extra protection is great, but it's also a good time to ask yourself, am I holding on to more cash than I actually need day to day? Maybe those funds could be working harder, or maybe it's time to spread your money across different banks to make sure you're fully covered.
All right, let's switch gears and talk inflation. We've got a small, but hey, a very welcome drop. The latest figures show the rate eased just a bit, from 3.8% down to 3.6%. Now, it's still above the Bank of England's 2% target, but any move in the right direction is good news.
But, it's always interesting to look behind that headline number, right? Because it's a bit of a mixed bag. The main reason for the drop was smaller increases in energy bills and a dip in hotel prices. But on the other hand, food inflation actually went up to 4.9%, which is a big reminder that those cost pressures are still very real for a lot of us. Okay, so that's the economy. Now let's move on to our second section, staying on the right side. We're going to look at some new rules on pricing and tax that every single business owner needs to have on their radar.
Whoa, the Competition and Markets Authority, the CMA, has been given some serious new teeth, and they are not afraid to bite. They can now directly fine businesses up to 10% of their global turnover for breaking consumer law. That's huge. And their focus right now is laser sharp. They're going after practices like drip pricing. When those annoying extra fees pop up right at the very end of the checkout? Yeah, that. And those fake countdown timers to create false urgency? They're on the list too. 8 businesses are already being investigated, so the message is clear. Check your website's checkout process and make sure everything is transparent. And with the festive season just around the corner, HMRC has a little reminder for all you side hustlers out there. If you earned more than $1,000 from your side business in the last tax year, we're talking selling crafts, running a market stall, that kind of thing, you got to register for self-assessment and get that tax return filed. All right, let's shift our focus from the rules outside your business to what's happening inside. How can we work smarter and, just as importantly, stay safer? This is a question I think every business owner should ask themselves regularly. Is your accounting system actually working for you, or are you working for it? It's so easy to just stick with what you know, but the right system can save you a ton of time and give you a much clearer picture of your business's health. So, if you're thinking about making a change, here are 5 key things to keep in your back pocket. First, really figure out what you need before you even look at software. Second, think about value, not just cost. A slightly more expensive system might save you hours every week. Look for automation, things that connect to your bank, and, this is a big one, choose a system that can grow with you. And finally, plan the switch carefully to make it as painless as possible. Now, let's talk security. The National Cybersecurity Center has launched a new campaign with a message that could not be simpler or more direct, especially with sales like Black Friday coming up when the risk of online fraud just goes through the roof. And if you're wondering why this is so important, just look at this number. Almost £12 million. That's how much was lost to online shopping scams in the UK just last holiday season. It's staggering. Scammers love to create fake urgency to get you to act before you think. So the campaign boils it down to 4 simple but really powerful habits for you and your team. Always double-check that a shop is legit, use 2-step verification wherever you possibly can, pay securely, and be super suspicious of any of those unexpected delivery messages. Simple stuff, but it makes a world of difference. And finally, let's zoom in on a couple of really big updates for anyone in the property rental game or in the retail, hospitality, and leisure sectors. Okay, big news for landlords. The government has just laid out the roadmap for the landmark Renters' Rights Act. It's coming in 3 stages, and that first big wave of changes is set to land in May 2026.
And that first phase, it's a big one. The headline change, the one everyone's talking about, is the end of Section 21 no-fault evictions. This means you'll need a legally valid reason to get your property back. Other new rules include limiting rent increases to just once a year and banning discrimination against tenants with kids or those on benefits. All right, now if you're in retail, hospitality, or leisure, listen up. There are some really important changes coming to business rates on April 1st, 2026, and they're all designed to give the high street a bit of a boost.
So they're bringing in new, lower multipliers for businesses that qualify, split into 2 tiers based on property value. And this is a big but. The rules for who actually qualifies are getting a lot stricter. It's going to be based on a tight legal definition, which is much less flexible than the old relief schemes. So it's absolutely crucial you check if your business will still get this support.
Whew. We have covered a lot of ground. The clear takeaway from all of this is that 2026 is shaping up to be a year of really significant change, whether it's finance, consumer law, or property and retail. Which leaves us with one final, and I think pretty crucial question. What steps are you taking now to make sure your business is ready for it?